My ex-wife and I ran into each other at the restaurant, 6 years after our divorce. Long time no see, I said, trying to sound casual, though my stomach had done a little flip, betraying my calm facade. She froze the instant she glanced at my current wife, standing beside me, her hand lightly resting on my arm. The tension in her eyes was almost physical, like a tangible weight pressing into the space between us. I hadn't expected to see her tonight. This restaurant wasn't our usual spot, yet somehow, fate had conspired to place us at the same table, under the same warm, dim lights. She looked older, yes, but not in a tired, worn way. More like she carried herself with a sharp, almost predatory elegance of someone who had rebuilt her life carefully, brick by brick. And yet, when she saw my wife, the flash of recognition was unmistakable, followed by something darker, almost like regret, or was it envy? I tried to keep my voice steady. "This is Claire," I said, introducing my wife with a polite smile, feeling a sudden surge of protective instinct. My ex's lips pressed into a tight line, and she barely nodded. I couldn't tell if she was angry at me at the situation, or just shocked that life had moved on without her. "I didn't expect to run into you here," she said finally, her voice low measured. 6 years, right? Yes, I admitted. Time flies. I wanted to ask her what she'd been doing, how life treated her, but some invisible restraint stopped me. It felt like stepping over a line that didn't belong to me anymore. The conversation drifted toward small talk, work, the city, mutual acquaintances, but beneath every word lay a current of unspoken questions. I noticed her glances, the subtle way her eyes followed Claire, and suddenly I understood why she had frozen. It wasn't just that she hadn't expected to see me with someone new. It was more personal than that. My ex-wife's eyes, sharp as ever, betrayed a flicker of something I hadn't anticipated. Recognition of betrayal she hadn't forgiven herself for. Months ago, while my life had moved steadily forward, she had whispered in private the truth she couldn't share. She had been involved with someone else, someone close, during our last years together. The memory hit me now, sudden and unwelcome. For a moment, I could feel the old anger and disappointment simmering under the surface, mingling with curiosity. Did she know I had moved on? Could she see how happy Claire and I were, and did it sting? I tried to push the thought away, focusing on the present. But then her voice, soft and oddly vulnerable, drew me back into the past. "You look happy," she said. There was no bitterness in the tone, only a strange mixture of sadness and admiration, like she was looking at someone who had outrun her in a race she hadn't realized she was losing. "Thank you," I said, my own throat tight. "I am." Her eyes dropped for a moment, and when they lifted again, there was an intensity one couldn't ignore. She was studying us, my hand brushing lightly against Claire's, the ease with which my wife smiled, the little jokes we shared. And I realized something unsettling. My ex-wife hadn't just come across me by chance tonight. Deep down, she had been measuring, evaluating, comparing. And perhaps, somewhere, she had feared this meeting. As we lingered in the awkward tension, the waiter brought the check, and I felt a sudden urgency to escape the weight of unspoken truths. We exchanged polite goodbyes, and I offered a hand that she didn't immediately take. Her fingers brushed mine lightly, hesitantly, and for a split second, the past whispered between us. Outside, the night air was sharp, a bitter contrast to the warm glow of the restaurant. Claire slipped her hand into mine, and I realized how completely my heart had shifted, how foreign it felt to even consider what my ex had once meant to me. The betrayal she had carried, the secret she had hidden, it all seemed like a distant shadow compared to the present I was living. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that the encounter had left an indelible mark. My ex-wife walked away slowly, her posture straight, her expression unreadable. I wanted to call her back, to say something, anything, but the words wouldn't form. Part of me knew this was closure, silent and awkward, and part of me feared it had reopened a wound I hadn't realized was still tender. As Claire and I walked home, I felt a strange mixture of relief and sorrow. Relief that our lives were separate now, firmly and irreversibly, and sorrow for the years lost, the misunderstandings, the choices that had led us here. And deep down, a quiet acknowledgement of the truth I hadn't wanted to admit. that some betrayals linger longer than we expect, and some encounters, even brief, remind us just how far we've come, and how fragile the illusion of moving on can sometimes feel. By the time we reached our door, the city lights glinting like tiny promises, I squeezed Claire's hand a little tighter, silently vowing that this chapter, awkward, complicated, and raw, would remain exactly where it belonged, in the past.